What's up, everyone? Kyle here. Welcome to this edition of Our Travel Tips. Today we're talking planning. Planning for a trip is actually, for me, almost as much fun as the trip itself. I love planning out trips. I definitely planned out a lot of grandiose trips that will probably never happen, but it's a ton of fun for me. So I'm going to share a few tips of how I plan for a trip and how it might help you as you plan your next trip. So let's take a look. All right. So first, we need to plan where we're going, what place we want to look at. So this is going to depend on how much time you have, what time of year maybe, that sort of thing. So let's say I have a long weekend. Let's say I can go on a Thursday through Sunday. So leaving on Thursday, coming back Sunday. Um, so if I'm looking at that, I personally like to go to Google Maps first. And by the way, none of this is sponsored. I'm going to go through a few sites that I use, not being sponsored at all. So these are just sites that I like to use. But anyways, so I'm up here in Washington State, up here on this corner of the world. So if I'm looking at a long weekend, I'm probably looking, no farther than, maybe Missouri here for a weekend or something like that. Just because it's going to take a long time to get to the East Coast. There's going to be a lot of flying involved, and it's going to really cut down on the time of the trip. So I'd probably look somewhere out west. Let's just use my favorite city in the world as an example, San Diego. My my home for a while. I love San Diego, and I want to go visit it for a long weekend, which is something I've done a few times. So, first we're looking at there. Okay, I know that it's a couple hour flight, 2 or 3 hours to get there, which isn't too bad. So I like to look at different flights here. Now, normally I use Alaska Airlines because I'm a rewards member with them, but I also look at sites like Kayak to see, where's the what's the cheapest flight, what are the times, what do those look like, that sort of thing. So let's go to flights here on Kayak, and we'll say Seattle to San Diego, and let's just use this example here. Say I'm flying on the 9th and I'm coming back on the 12th. All right. So Alaska pops up there first. And unfortunately, flights are really expensive these days. So I love Kayak because it's gonna go search all these different airlines, and it's gonna show you, the best deals, the best time, that sort of thing. So let's see here. It looks like there's two different airlines you could do here. You could use Alaska Airlines. So this is probably the one that I would personally pick. Also, another thing when it comes to planning is budget. What's your budget for the trip? That could be important as well. If you're looking to have a smaller budget, you're probably going to stay closer to home, probably not go flying right now, that sort of thing. Maybe do a road trip or something instead, go somewhere local, that sort of thing. If you've got a higher budget, maybe you look a little bit further away. Now, I know that visiting San Diego in the summertime is going to be expensive. People want to go there. So let's just say we use that. I can go book that this flight. And anyways, it's coming into a couple different places. So that's something to keep in mind as well. But you can see about 3 hours to get down there and get back. You can see, you can choose, maybe I don't want to really get up early in the morning on Sunday. So I'm going to go find a, later flight that day. That sort of thing. Here's one that's at 2:35 p.m. on Sunday. That's a lot more appealing to me. So you can mix and match depending on what you're looking for. Just kind of really depends on what you want to do. But Kayak is a great site to kind of mess around and see what what works best for your plans. And you can choose, when, like, say Thursday, you didn't want to leave any earlier than, say, noon. You can go adjust that, and it's going to adjust what flights are available there as well. So that's one of the tips there. That's a good way to find some flights. Now, hotels, I like to use Booking.com, but there's a lot of great sites out there. Booking.com is a great place for me personally. I find a lot of deals on here, honestly. And then same thing again, you can type in where you're going. Boom, San Diego. We're going June 9th through the 12th. And this is going to show you basically anything that is available out there. And I really like it because you can search, different prices. So you can do the price low to high or high to low. You can choose only hotels, or you can choose only apartments, or only things like that. Only hostels, that sort of thing, whatever you're looking for. And again, you just look at, depending on your budget, where you want to go, that sort of thing. And I also think it's good to look at, as you're looking at hotels, especially. I think it's important to look at where you want to be inside the city. So if you want to stay downtown, you're going to search for hotels down there as well. And Booking.com is nice because they have a map somewhere. Oh, there we go. Show on map. And it's going to put this out on a map here for you. So you can see, where in the city these hotels are available. And as you change, the location, that's going to change what's available to you. Now, if I really wanted to live it up, and knowing San Diego, I would definitely go stay on Coronado. Coronado is one of my favorite places in the world, my favorite beach to go to. And so if I really wanted to go above and beyond, I would stay on Coronado Island. Now, it's going to be really expensive, but if that's what I want to do, I can do that. Or if I wanted to stay downtown, I could do that as well. Maybe I'm going for a conference at the San Diego Convention Center. I can stay basically right across the street if I wanted to. There's a lot of hotels in that area. Someplace where I could walk, and maybe that way I can save some money instead of having to pay for Ubers or taxis or something like that. I can just walk to wherever I need to go. So those are things to think about as you're planning. One of the other things I do as well is, before I book hotels or anything like that, I look up things that I want to do. And the starting place where I start with seeing what I want to do when I'm going to a city is I go to TripAdvisor and I type in where I'm going, and I look at the top things to do there based on reviews. TripAdvisor, again, is a great place to find a lot of things, find a lot of popular tourist spots and things like that, popular places to eat. You can also find different guided tours and stuff like that. So it's a nice place to start if you're looking for things to do. So usually they have top attractions here. So I can go to this. And I can see, okay, the number one thing to do in San Diego, based on reviews, is the USS Midway Museum, which, having been there before, I would probably agree with that. It's a pretty cool thing to see. And so I could see, okay, that's something that's interesting to me. I'm going to write that down. And that's something that I want to make sure I do while I'm there. La Jolla Cove, also a really cool place. You can see the sea lions, which is a lot of fun there. That's interesting to me as well, so I'll write that one down. San Diego Zoo, not as interesting to me. I've been to a lot of zoos in my life. Not something I really want to do anymore, so I'd probably scratch that one off the list. Although I will say the San Diego Zoo is amazing. Mount Soledad National Veterans Memorial. That looks cool. I'd be interested in that. I could write that one down, Balboa Park, all these things. So you can kind of just go through and see, okay, what are the things I like to do? What interests me? Petco Park, I'd love to go catch a game while I'm there, that sort of thing. And then you can just kind of go as far as you want on this, and just look at what's out there. Now, I wouldn't say this is the only place to go look for things to do. If you can ask locals, or if you can find some sort of blog or something about the city, there's going to be, especially in San Diego, there's going to be a lot of information about things to do there, places to eat, that sort of thing. There's going to be a lot of resources for you. So just searching, good things to do in San Diego or fun things to do. We could look at this here. Fun things to do in San Diego. Oh, it's going to pop up a lot of the same ones here. But you can see, different things there. It's got a whole long list here. And then there's probably, again, some blogs that are going to share more about San Diego, places to eat, that sort of thing. So you can make the list however you want to make it, depending on what's interesting to you. So that's what I typically do. I'll write down a list, and then I'll go back and I'll search on the map and figure out, where each thing is located, if they have certain hours. A lot of museums, which I'm interested in, a lot of history museums and stuff like that. Sometimes they're not open on certain days, and that's really important to know. It would suck to get all the way to your destination and find out that the museum that you wanted to go to is not actually open when you're there. So that's always important to know. I think I've done that before where I messed up. I didn't look exactly when it was open, and I missed some places where I wanted to go, which is really sad. So that's a tip for you as well. And then also, to make your trip easier, you can see, okay, if I want to go to Balboa Park, which is this big area here, this big green space, a lot of the things that were on that list are inside Balboa Park. Air and Space Museum, Automotive Museum, the zoo is there. There's a lot of stuff there. So I could say, okay, I'm going to plan to go there and do, check all those things off. And then maybe one of the other things I wanted to do was go to Sunset Cliffs. Sunset Cliffs is way over here. I don't want to go back and forth. So maybe I wanted to go to the zoo. So I go there, and then I say, okay, I want to go to Sunset Cliffs. So then I take an Uber or drive way over there. And then I realize, I want to go to the Air and Space Museum, which is back in Balboa Park. That's going to make my trip more expensive by having to take Ubers or, pay for gas or whatever it is. And it's going to make it less efficient. It's going to make it, you're not going to be able to do as much if you're going all over the place. So I try to strategically plan my days so that I'm, not spending so much time getting from place to place and actually getting to experience what I want to experience. Same thing with restaurants. I look at restaurants that are, good to go to. You could put top restaurants in San Diego in here. You could look on social media and stuff like that for places you want to go. Foods that interest you and stuff like that. You could find what's the local, delicacies, that sort of thing. Maybe one of the places you want to go to is this Water Grill San Diego. I've never actually been there, but looks interesting. Looks like some seafood. And maybe one of the other things that you want to do while you're there is go to a game, a San Diego Padres game. So you could say, okay, well, if I want to go to this restaurant, it's right next to Petco Park. This would be a great place to go eat right before the game or something like that. Rather than, again, you're doing all this stuff up in Balboa Park, or you go way up to La Jolla here, which is way up here. You don't want to, again, be driving back and forth. So again, kind of strategically plan it out based on where things are, what time they're open, that sort of thing. So I spend a fair amount of time planning that stuff out, and I love doing it. It's honestly a ton of fun. I actually look at Google Maps for fun just to see what's out there and things that I could do. Um, so those are some of my tips for planning a trip. Again, there's a lot more to it, potentially, or maybe I'm just a little bit crazy. Who knows? But I love planning a trip. It's honestly half the fun of the trip. I just look at Google Maps for fun, to be honest. It's fun to see what's out there and things that you could do, and just how different things are in other places too. So let me know what you thought of the video. Let me know if there's any tips that I've missed in this video, and let me know some of your planning tips that you have as well. And of course, make sure you go subscribe for more content, and check out the podcast and the other show that I do. And stay tuned for more. I have more tips and more examples and a little bit more details in my book that's coming out at the end of the year. So definitely check that out if you want more details. And yeah, thanks again, everyone, for watching. I appreciate you taking time out of your day to watch this. It means a lot. And I look forward to seeing y'all again around the world soon. I look forward to seeing y'all around the world soon. And, keep traveling out there.